I'd been away from my lake cabin ranch for a few weeks, handling business in the city. By the time I turned down my familiar gravel road, the sun was setting, throwing soft orange light across the tree-line. I could practically taste the peace waiting at my cabin, until I slammed the brakes. There it was, a shiny silver SUV parked sideways across the entrance to my driveway, like someone had dropped a boulder there just to prove a point. Out stepped Karen. Red blazer, smug grin, arms crossed. The same self-appointed HOA enforcer who had been in my face since last spring. "Roads blocked," she said flatly. "Community event. Residents only." I laughed, though my jaw was tight. "Ma'am, this road is mine. My family's owned this land for 60 years. You're trespassing." Karen smirked and raised her phone like it was a badge. "Touch my car and I'll call the cops." The wind rustled the trees, and there we stood, me and Karen, like two gunslingers squaring off at dusk. She thought her bluff would scare me. Instead, I climbed back into my truck and stared at her bumper. My hand tightened on the wheel. I could have plowed through right then, but I knew she wanted a fight. That night, I didn't even make it inside my cabin. I slept in my truck by the lake, staring at the roofline through the trees, reminded of every petty note she had left on my gate, every glare, every call to animal control about my dog. This wasn't about a driveway anymore. This was about drawing a line. By dawn, I knew exactly what had to be done. The next morning, I headed back up the gravel road. And right on cue, there was the SUV again, parked like it owned the place. Karen was pacing, phone in hand, talking loud enough for me to hear. "Yes, officer, he's threatening me." I stepped out, calm as could be. "Morning," I said. "You're trespassing," she snapped, waving her phone. "On my land?" I chuckled. "This driveway has been in my family since the 60s. Your HOA doesn't apply here." She doubled down. "We voted. New parking rules. This is community property now." I grinned. "Funny, Karen. I don't recall you voting on land you don't own." Then headlights flashed down the road. A county deputy rolled up, Miller, an old high school buddy. Karen's smugness flickered. "Officer," she hollered. "He threatened me." Miller lifted a hand. "Ma'am, if this is his driveway, you've got no right to block it." Karen stammered, outraged. Miller turned to me. "Want me to write trespassing charges?" I looked at her fuming in that SUV. I could have crushed her with the law right then. But I knew ending it too soon wasn't enough. She'd only double back. "Not today," I told Miller. "But she moves her car now." Karen finally backed down, gravel spitting from her tires. But one look told me this war wasn't over. And as she disappeared, I realized, if I wanted my driveway back for good, I needed more than a standoff. I needed proof, law, and steel on my side. Hook for next part. Karen thought yesterday's fight was bad. She had no idea I was about to bring in reinforcements she couldn't touch. I drove into town, hit the county clerk's office, and walked out with certified deeds showing my driveway was 100% mine. Then I met with Marlene Walker, my lawyer, who drafted a cease and desist so sharp it practically smoked off the paper. If Karen crossed my line again, she'd be in legal hot water. Back at the cabin, I posted bold black-letter signs, "Private property, NO unauthorized vehicles." And, just in case, I hooked the plow to my old Ford truck. A steel blade is more persuasive than words sometimes. Not 24 hours later, Karen returned. She marched straight toward me, finger jabbing at the new sign. "Take that down. You're violating community rules." I couldn't help but laugh. "Karen, they're not your rules. This is my land." "Oh really?" she sneered. "Your rusty truck doesn't scare me." That was all I needed to hear. I climbed into the cab, fired up the engine, and rolled forward with the plow scraping the gravel. Sparks flew. Karen froze, wide-eyed. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. "Exactly what I told you," I said, inching closer. "You're not blocking my driveway again." She scrambled into her SUV, tires squealing as she slammed it in reverse. Gravel spit under her wheels as she tore off down the road. Heart racing, I parked the truck right across the entrance like a barricade. It wasn't just about intimidation anymore, it was about showing her I wasn't bluffing. Still, I knew Karen's pride wouldn't let her back down. People like her always came back harder. The next blow came in the form of a crisp HOA letter stuffed under my gate. It accused me of aggressive conduct and threatened to fine me, even slap a lien on my property. I almost laughed myself off the porch. My land wasn't under their jurisdiction at all. Classic Karen, dressing up threats to look official. I went straight back to Marlene. She read it, smirked, and drafted a legal notice that spelled everything out. Karen and her HOA had zero claim over my driveway. Crossed the line again, and I had grounds for harassment charges. I marched right into their clubhouse meeting. Karen was at the head of the table, arms folded. "You're trespassing," she snapped. I dropped the notice on the desk. "What's outrageous," I said, "is you trying to bully people with fake rules. Here's the deal, you're banned from my driveway. Next time, it's the sheriff dragging you away." The room went silent. Even her allies shifted uncomfortably. For the first time, I saw doubt creep into her eyes. That night, I built a steel gate across my drive. Heavy chain. Solid hinge. A line drawn in iron. The next morning, Karen's SUV slowed by, but she didn't stop. She didn't even roll down the window. For the first time in weeks, I felt peace settle over the cabin. No SUV barricades, no phony letters, no smug HOAs prowling with clipboards. Just me, my land, and the quiet lap of the lake that had always been my family's sanctuary. I'd fought with steel and with law, but in the end, it wasn't about Karen at all. It was about proving something bigger, that when someone tries to bully you out of what's yours, you stand your ground. Because peace is worth fighting for. And that gate at the end of my driveway, it wasn't just metal. It was victory.